Good morning, students. Hope you are keeping fine at home. Stay at home, stay safe. Today, once again, I come to you through this video. Dear students, you remember we have different civilizations in history, especially four ancient civilizations of the world. Among the four ancient civilizations, Egyptian civilization is one of them. And so today I would like to discuss about the Egyptian civilization. This civilization flourished at the bank of river Nile. Initially, this civilization or Egypt, the kingdom of Egypt, was ruled by different dynasties known as dynastic period between 3150 to 2613 BCE. Besides this, there was no other civilizations that had literary records except Sumerian. This is to be noted. And so this kingdom was later divided, but Pharaoh was the ruler of the whole Egypt. And during that time, the pyramids and the mummifications and hieroglyphic writings were the prominent or new discoveries that was made during the time of Pharaoh. This is about real little introduction of Egypt. How do we come to know? What is the source of information regarding the Egyptian civilization? You know, there were two main sources: literary sources and archaeological sources. Literary sources, we have the most important historian named as Manetho. He was a priest. He wrote the history of Egypt known as Egyptica during 3rd century. Later, the history of Egypt or the records of the different rulers was noted down, written down during the time of Ramesses II, that is around 1250 BCE. Archaeological sources were the remains of the different articles, especially the pyramid and the burial ground. Besides the burial ground, they could, or together with the dead person, other things of his daily uses were buried also. Through this, we come to know that the history of the people of Egypt, ancient Egypt. So these are the two main sources of information regarding the Egyptian civilization. We have also the location now. Next one is location. Third point to discuss is location. Where is Egypt located? Egypt is located at the bank of river Nile. So Egypt is the gift of Nile, as it is known. If you look into the map of Egypt, then you will be able to see this at the northern part of north eastern part of Africa, North Africa, and the it is connected to the Mediterranean Sea. Nile, River Nile is the boon to the Egyptian civilization. Why? Because whole civilizations depend on River Nile, and so this is most populated area along the River Nile, and agriculture was the main occupation of these people, and river was now flanked by numerous farming villages. That means both the sides villages are there, towns are settled or flourished, both the sides of the River Nile. These villages were ruled by the powerful chiefdom. Chiefdom means ruled by a kingdom that is ruled by the chief. Chief means here head of the tribe. Head of the tribe is known as the chief. So the valley of Nile was only strip fertile land, whereas the rest of the country is deserted. And so only at the bank of River Nile most populated villages and the towns flourished. Other part of Egypt is deserted. Now let us discuss about the life of the people of Egyptian civilization. First one is society. What kind of society developed in the Egyptian civilization? The Egyptian believed that Pharaoh, the ruler, pharaohs were the descendant of God, and so they were highly respected. They were considered as the representative of gods on earth. So society was divided into three classes: upper classes, middle classes, and lower classes. Upper classes consisted of the rulers, that is royal families, the rich people, landlords, and the priest. These were the people belong to the high class or upper class. Middle class consisted of merchants, craftsmen, and the clergy. Clergy means today we have got the pujari. The lowest class or the lower class consisted of farmers, unskilled laborer, slaves, most of whom were prisoners. Those who were prisoners during the war, they won the war and they brought the people and made them slave. They were or some people were debted. That means some people took the money and could not return to the landlords, and then they became slave to the landlords. That's how. So these kind of people they consisted, or they framed the lower classes of people. Now, Pharaoh was responsible for making laws and maintaining orders. The vizier was the Pharaoh's chief. Did that? Vizier was the Pharaoh's chief. Underline. Next, nobles were responsible for the local laws and maintaining order of the region. That is the nobles. See, everywhere king cannot go, and so he had appointed today we have got the governors. The president cannot go all throughout India. He cannot go around. And so he has appointed governors to rule the state, because governor is the head of the state. So that's why. And in the union territories, there are LGs, the lieutenant governors in India. So in this context also in Egypt, there were nobles were there who were responsible for local administrations. Priests were responsible for keeping the god happy, so that the people may be blessed by God, and no harm could come from God. So the wrath of God may not harm people. So priests were responsible for this. Scribes were only people who could read and write. They were educated people, scribes, and so they were appointed as writers. They kept the records of the administrations, law and order, and the rule of the pharaohs, rulers. Craftsmen were skilled workers. They made the pottery, sculpture, painters, weavers, jewelers. Today we have got different smiths, goldsmiths, and the blacksmiths, and all that. All these people were known as craftsmen. Next thing is that farmers. Farmers worked on the land of the pharaoh. Nobles. Pharaoh means pharaoh. Nobles were under pharaoh, and the farmers were under the nobles. So there was a gradation of the division of work here. Slaves were the most lowest category of people. They looked after, they cleaned the roads, the houses, and they worked in quarries. Today we have got the quarries, so and all that. So hope you know what is quarries. We have explained in class 6, and they also cleaned, washed the temples and all that. So all these so work division was based on these points. So remember that the people in depths were also reduced to slavery. So next thing is that family. What kind of family they had in Egyptian civilization? Father was the head of the family. Naturally, today also most of the people in the world, families in the world, the father is the head of the. I hope you remember last year I have told you that in which state in India the mothers are women are the head. Women are the head of the family. Find out. I will not tell you. So family, this consisted of the father, the mother, and the children. In upper classes, women rather ran the whole household work. They looked after, and then they ordered what servant has to do and all that. So women were responsible in upper class people. And so this all that. So the men worked outside. So women worked in the household job, and so they looked after all those things. Remember that point. In ancient Egypt, though men held the power, women rulers were not unheard. Not unheard. That means there were also women rulers. the Queen Hatshepsut, she was the longest female ruler. Okay. Hatshepsut. See how you pronounce this word. So the female ruler most long. She ruled from 1500 BCE to 1458 BCE. 20 years. Nefertiti, another rulers, one of the most beautiful and powerful queen of Egypt, was born around 1370 BC and died around 1330. Queen Cleopatra was the last ruler, the lady ruler of Egypt, before she came. Before the Romans took over the whole Egypt. Remember that Romans. So that was the things. Um, Next one, see if they were people. So what kind of the culture, and in culture dress also comes. So the dress, what kind of dress people wore in Egypt. So women wore a long gown like thing from head to the shoulder to the toe. The men wore as a skirt like things wrapped around it, small right thing, and they had different kinds of attires and jewelries and all that on their neck, on the bracelets and the hands and all that. Egyptian women wore full length straight dress with one or two shoulders strap. So there were straps today. You have got many styles of women's dress, so like straps all hanging here and there. The women also decorated their clothes with jewelries and then head dress also. They had your headdress. It was not exactly the hat, but a headdress. Sandals and the shoes were worn. The Egyptians lined their eyes with this kohl to protect eyes. Today we have got the kajal, that kind of things were they also used that is to protect their eyes from the most harmful rays of the sun and the dust. Most Egyptians seem to have worn some form of jewelries, amulets, rings, bracelets, and necklace. People of this, or people of people of means were jewelries. That means they made up. There were people who they worked on gold, silver, and all of that. So there were other, besides this there were other jewelries that people wore. Next one is the town planning. So there is no clear understanding of town planning in ancient Egypt. Some of they have shown signs of the memphils and the tevis, which grow naturally. These were the plants, little plants. Next one, if the cities were planned, they were done so based on the proximity of Niles. What is this proximity? Proximity meaning here is the closeness in terms of distance. That means they had arranged some sort of arrangement in the town was arranged properly, and so that is what is not so much as the Indus Valley civilization we have. Egyptian civilization town planning is a normal town planning that is there. It's not that very important here. Okay, so dear children, these are the points that I have discussed. You please go through. When rest of the lessons we will see in the next video, occupation and all that we will see next video. So I remind you, when you see this video, please also open the book and have pencil in hand and then note down all those things that I have highlighted and told those points, and then only it will be helpful for you. Okay, keep safe. Thank you.